If you're David Mundy, you can do anything. Brayshaw. Oh, he goose-stepped beautifully. And a couple. Herky-jerky, shake and bake. Magnificent.
Back to the Flagmantle podcast. Thank you for turning on my microphone, Real Car.
You're very welcome.
Back for another week, mate. It's been a long weekend. If you're a Fremantle fan, it's been pretty miserable waking up.
You seem a bit worn out, mate.
I am absolutely cooked. I spent the weekend in Melbourne, and let me tell you, mate, getting back was not fun.
Life throws rocks sometimes. And it truly has thrown
it throws boulders.
It throws boulders at you, mate.
Yeah.
Just starting off with the start of the week.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled,
led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived. Yeah, look, the Dockers didn't do well, did they, Real Car?
Nah, not particularly well.
We went down to the Sainers, which was a bit sad.
And they had 8 of their, starting 22 out.
Yeah, should we run the recap?
There's been a lot of backlash from the fans. It's crazy to see all those Facebook groups going off left, right, center. It
Comments
feels like
on
a war
Instagram
zone
aren't
in there,
good.
mate.
Twitter is brutal.
With shade being thrown around by all the media spotlight personnel, especially over East and especially over here at SEN. They're throwing shade. Tim Gossage, I'm looking at you, mate. Throwing definite shade. But Stu Speedy recap. There's no other better way to start off the show with a little recap, and it's probably not going to be speedy. There's a lot to talk about. Yes, Stewie, mate.
Yeah, look, I know you said it's not going to be speedy, but I hated the game, so I'm going to make it speedy.
Let's skip over to next week,
Yeah, so Fremantle started off the game well. We kicked the first goal through Michael Frederick, but it was downhill from there. We lost the first quarter, I think, by 8 points, and we never really seemed to recover it. We had a lead going into the last quarter, but unfortunately, we went goalless, and the Saints kicked a few, and they won through Ross Lyon's genius
It's
tactics.
a tactician. It's an absolute tactician, this fella. Tabs went out, soft as paper. Soft as wet tissue paper, this fella.
Well, he's not even injured. He just got subbed out.
He got subbed out, apparently.
Tactical
because
sub.
of his finger, apparently.
No, really?
Do you think it was a tactical?
It's a tactical
Was
sub.
it tactical?
Yeah, it's tactical.
That's quite interesting. Fremantle was using the tactical sub to the advantage, which is what it was planned to do. So that's a fair call from Fremantle. We're just outplayed straight away, weren't we? Just the defense from the St Kilda's, defense and their midfields and their forward line. They're not particularly star-studded team, but it's at the end of the day, it just proves why. Fremantle got outclassed by a team that just wanted it more. And if a team wants the footy more and plays better, I just guess you just win every game of footy every single time. But in returns of that, this is staying here. So wooden spoon. Yeah, wooden spoon.
Yikes.
Staying here until we start winning, boys. So it's out to the Fremantle Dockers playing group. This is out to the fans too. This wooden spoon, which we're going to make sure this is going to be staying in the studio.
Is this going to be a weekly thing?
This is a weekly thing. This is staying here until Fremantle win 3 games.
3 games?
Consecutively.
Then what are we going to do? Are we going to snap it in half?
Yeah, we're going to snap it in half.
Okay.
Yes. So that's staying here.
All right.
Yeah,
So
okay.
we'll have an update on the spoon every week. Make sure it's tracking all right. But
spoon.
Real car, mate, I was at this game, and I'm sad to say I was at this game because it was pretty disappointing. Saints were fitter. They were stronger. They were faster. They had more intent in the ball. Their pressure around the ball was second to none. It was outstanding. We had no room to move or to create any sort of offense. And when we did, the Saints would hold us up really well. We'd try to exit our back half, but we get stuck at like the halfway point, and that's where the Saints really, really walled up well. So we couldn't move the ball past halfway comfortably. We had to bomb it, which turned out to be 65 inside 50s, and none of them were any quality. So it was a sad day for Fremantle fans. We got outcoached by the guy we sacked because we thought we could do better without him.
Well,
ironic, isn't it?
How about
Very
that
ironic. But look, the game wasn't great, but I think we'll bounce back next week.
Oh, mate. Tracy, Tabs, and Fife failed to fire. Obviously, Tabs.
And Jackson.
And Jackson, too. I mean, I think what old mate said on SEN, about how, Fremantle fans had a lot of, false hope. A lot of false hope on whether Jackson would be that key forward that we all wanted. I was always optimistic about it, but I was also aware that he's not a key forward. He's going to be a ruckman that's going up and down the ground. You're not going to get 2, 3, 4 goals out of him, and maybe once in a blue moon, but it's incredibly hard for such a young player, and all the backlash that's been at Luke Jackson is uncalled for. A lot of the other players as well. It's what happens. Last year, Geelong lost their first game, and they went on to win the premiership. So I think all this backlash very, very early, proves why. A lot of the Fremantle fans, I admit, is just over exaggerating a little bit, and they can't wait. You have to trust the process, mate. You have to trust the process. But yeah, it was just disappointing. We'll rebound next week. Don't stress. But yeah, there's a lot of people in the background that are still. You hear that, mate?
Yeah, I hear it.
Peel Thunder's calling.
Are they?
Yeah, it is.
What's happening at Peel Thunder? Tell me.
Seba Quick kicked 4 goals.
Yes.
And funnily enough, I bumped into this man at the drive-thru. I work at Thirsty Camel.
Oh.
So he came through and I was like, hang on a sec, you look familiar, buddy. And he was like, yeah, I play footy. And I'm like, you play for the Fremantle Dockers? And he was like, yeah, brother, I do. And I'm like, oh, you Seba Quick? And he was like, yeah. And I had a fat yarn, but
yeah.
Sorry, enough about me.
Good bloke?
Seba Quick, very funny bloke, very honest, very clear in telling me to get away from the car.
Get away from me, mate.
Seba Quick deserves a debut, mate.
Does he?
Quick,
Tell me why.
Athletic. He's been persistent at Waffle. He's shown that in the league team last year at Waffle. He's proven that he's capable of standing up to big bodies, and he's already put on what 6 kgs
Kilos?
Yeah, he's put on 6 kgs pretty much.
Yeah, he's still very slender.
Very slender. Don't get me wrong. He's
skinny,
a very skinny fella.
very raw.
But he knows how to take a good clunk.
Yes.
He's an aerial specialist, this fella, for how tall he is. He's a very tall bloke. But I just think, why not? Get tabs out, send him to Waffle for a week. There's going to be a few players coming in. We'll touch on that in the next episode. But yeah, just a few people, mate. Henry was excellent though. Back to the game. Henry back at the game. He was great, wasn't he?
I think he was better than he normally is. Liam Henry. I thought this was definitely an improvement game for him.
21 disposals, Mark. He was great in linking up the footy. I thought he was sublime in trying to get that wrong, and I think the few that were hating on his game, I think didn't watch the game fully. So I think they need to just watch the game again. So
yeah, look, he did some good things. We saw what Liam Henry was drafted for. Obviously, that skill, that class, that X factor. He still needs to piece together more passages of play that help between defensive 50 and forward 50. And sometimes he'll have a simple skill error or a simple brain fade, and it will cost. But look, he's young and he'll build into himself where that happens less and less and less. So the future's looking brighter for Liam Henry than we originally thought. So it's good to see him performing well.
Absolutely. You want to keep these players locked in the team. Like, I understand you need to send them down to Peel for, a lesson to get their experience up and their capabilities up and going. But time is, come on, just lock him in, Fremantle. Just lock him in already. He deserves to be in that AFL lineup every single week. I don't care if, he's quiet for 1 week. As a key forward, you need to learn that you need to actually do that every single week. It's a week-on-week basis that you need to learn. And you're not going to be learning at Peel, in my opinion. I think you just got to give him to, not give him to the Dogs, because that's a bit, too barbaric. But you know what I mean? You need to play.
Yeah, sometimes they need a taste of AFL football. But
and he's shown that he can do it.
I'm of the opinion that we should stick fat with who we've got at the moment. I think it was quite a difficult game for forwards to score goals. It was a very Ross Lyon-esque sort of game, and that's how we saw Shooter and Switter be our most damaging forwards. I think we should give this forward structure another couple of weeks just to make sure that it's really they're the problem and not rather something else that was affected by this one game. Because you can't tell. The game style was really hard for a forward to kick a score. So yeah, I'm of the opinion that we should keep it fat.
Those comments didn't really display a gratitude for the hard work that others had put into him.
First coming off, do it. Fucking get him off. Yeah, get him off. He's coming off. Get him back off. Get him off. Get him off. Get him off. Rocket, we can't hear. We can't fucking hear.
Rocket, that's right, we can't hear. I wish we had a coach as passionate as Rodney Eade was, but Justin Longmuir, this week you're the anchor wanker of the week, unfortunately. Mate, where's the plan B? When you see something going wrong on the field, maybe the team's not playing the way we need to, or maybe we've scouted for the other team and that's exactly how they're playing and they're beating us. Where's the plan B? Is there another way we can win this game?
He's playing old school, mate.
Justin Longmuir doesn't seem to have one at the moment. So, Justin Longmuir, you are the anchor wanker of the week. You got out coached by the guy you were supposed to replace. And that was
how's this looking
a little
for the
bit
membership?
Embarrassing. Yeah.
Membership records. Don't stress. JL, you've got this talented team. You're talented yourself. You need to just think. I think he just didn't think outside the box as much as Ross Lyon. Obviously, Ross Lyon's such a tactician. He's a genius. Everyone knows he is the footy mastermind of today. Pretty much same up there with Chris Scott. But JL, he could have easily fixed a couple problems, in my opinion. Obviously, he's sticking fast with the, we're going to keep it simple as it is. We're going to keep Nat Fyfe up forward. That's fair. If you stand by that decision, that's going to be up to you. And
yeah, I think that.
I think he's good for doing that because it shows that he still wants to be held responsible for that. And I think he's got huge faith in Nat Fyfe, and Nat Fyfe has huge faith in himself. I just think everything went wrong that game for him. So, I just think he was just unfortunate that he didn't, play at his best. So next week, though, he'll be back at his best.
We'll be back against Clarko and the Roos, I reckon. We might run Sam Switkowski against Harry Sheasel, but we'll talk more about next week's game on
get a tagger?
The next podcast.
I'm scared for that.
A forward tagger?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Sheasel play live. He is fantastic. Yeah, very good.
Absolutely well, mate. That's going to be something to look out for next week. But for now.
Hooray!
Yeah, look, the Purple Pants Player of the Week goes out to Brennan Cox, mate. Well done, Coxie. 30 touches, 20 marks, tying Luke McPharlin's club record for most marks in a game. Well done, Coxie. But, mate, I want to take 1 second and talk about last week. So last week I predicted that Luke Ryan would have the most touches on the ground, and guess what he did, real card? 37 of those things. 37 touches. I was right there. I also said he would break a record. Well, unfortunately it wasn't Luke Ryan, it was Brennan Cox.
Mate.
So I was
Stop it.
right on the money. Let me gas myself up a little bit, but
you do, mate. You deserve it.
That was a good call by me, that one. But yeah, look,
It's all right.
Brennan Cox was bloody brilliant, and so was Luke Ryan. Without them, we would have got demolished
from the get go, mate. Absolutely, and that brings us into our next little segment.
This week, a hot new bombshell enters the villa.
It's Ruka with a rant.
Oh my God, he's going to kill us. That is exactly right. I'm going to be
killing
someone right now. It will be. Oh, can we just
Ross
say
Lyon?
Ruka's rant? Oh no, we're going to be talking a bit about Campbell Brown and Kane Corns. Throwing a bit of shade towards the selection round of the week. I know there's a huge debate with this. When he selects this, he's always respecting a bit of backlash for this. But not one of those three backmen that had an outstanding game. Brennan Cox, top 5 key back in my opinion in the league.
Yeah.
He keeps on doing it week in, week out for the past year. No recognition, maybe a tiny bit at the end of last year by some WA media officials, but besides that, none of the defenders. And I understand we're in a losing side, but those defenders carried us. It would have been much worse if those 3 defenders weren't in it. Those 3 deserve praise, and I hope. Obviously, they're all contracted. But just in risk of losing any of them, I just hope Fremantle have locked them in. I'm pretty sure Hayden Young's locked in long term.
Let's hope they all forget they're not from WA, mate, because none of them are. Surprisingly enough. I also have my rant ready to go, mate. So we were in Melbourne for the weekend, and we were scheduled to come back on the Sunday night via a Jetstar flight that would take us straight from Melbourne to Perth. But unfortunately,
and saw all the AFL games too.
Yeah, I saw the games over the weekend. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Yeah, Jetstar, mate. They were supposed to take me home, and about an hour before the flight, we're in the airport. We're waiting.
Oh, everything's dandy.
Everything's dandy. We're actually in line for Macca's, getting us some. I think 10:30,
Macca's was
11
luring
o'clock.
you into a false sense of security, wasn't it? Yeah.
Mate, I was. Yeah, Dad got a bit of an email, and basically Jetstar
I
were
love how
like,
they email it out to you.
yeah, they email. No, it was a text with a link to like some sort of.
Oh,
So they texted my dad at maybe like 11 o'clock. The flight was for 12ish or something like that. And we've been in the airport. For reference, the Melbourne airport is like a 40-minute drive from the CBD. It's out there a little bit. And Jetstar, they decided, nah, we don't have enough staff tonight. We're canceling your flight.
Exactly.
And we go, bloody hell, mate, we're already here. I feel bad for everyone that had checked their like luggage onto the plane because they had to wait for ages.
They were missing one staff, so you don't get your mid-flight sandwich.
Oh, they just were missing everything, mate. They missed a lot.
Lesson learned.
Don't go
fly with
Jetstar.
Jetstar.
Yeah, but okay. So there's like this line at the service desk, maybe 500 people long. And we were in this line trying to maybe get some money back for a missed flight, which is normally how it goes. But
A wee pot of gold.
yeah, a little we put a gold, but that was so bad, mate. But basically, we just went nah.
St. Paddy's, mate. We got to.
It was St. Paddy's. But yeah, we basically thought, oh no, we can recover this later. We'll skip this line. We'll go back into the city and we'll do something a little bit out of the box. And the thing we thought of was, let's get a flight tomorrow.
Let's do something unoriginal.
Let's do something a bit unique here. So we booked a flight to Busselton. For the next day, and then we're like, let's get bus tickets from Busselton to Perth. And we'll be in Perth about dinner time the next day, and we're like, oh yep, all well and dandy. So we booked a hotel into the CBD, got an Uber, got scammed in the Uber.
What do we do in Melbourne? That's unoriginal. We'll just go to a cafe strip because they're all the same.
Oh
right?
mate,
you just go have a coffee or something.
Yeah, no. So we got back at like midnight maybe. Took a bit of a walk around, eventually went to sleep, and we're supposed to get up early to get this flight to Busselton, but I fall asleep and my dad's on his iPad working things out, and turns out at like 1 a.m, Jetstar has cancelled this flight to Busselton again. So they've cancelled 2 flights back to back, and we've thought this out and set it all up, and now that one's being cancelled as well. And so we booked through Qantas, thankfully, and Qantas sorted us out with a flight back to Melbourne later the next day. So I had a bit of a sleep in, which was nice, and I got in the flight and I got here all dandy.
Qantas.
Shout out Qantas for saving us from bloody
Very
Jetstar,
nice.
but
Very nice.
geez, it was an absolute mess getting home.
You know what was missing from that? Where's Kevin from Home Alone? You should have gone to New York. That's what it should have been.
Oh,
mate.
we should have. I mean, we spent the next day in Melbourne doing
Absolutely
Kevin
nothing.
things
Yeah,
from
Kevin
Home
things.
Alone. So
Get a pizza,
yeah.
order a limo.
Oh, mate, the pizza's over there nice. Like,
Really good?
We had a New York style slice of pizza.
Nothing beats my kebab shop right near Ellenbrook, mate. Nothing beats it.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, if you believe so, I'm gonna believe you there, real car, but I doubt it. The pizza I had in Melbourne was bloody brilliant. Can I say the architecture there is magnificent? You walk down the street, you'll never see the same building twice. Everything is unique.
Unique? Well,
Yeah.
looks like I'm in the
It's
wrong
nice.
city, mate. Well, also, there's another thing that happened today. Will Brodie locked in for another 3 years.
Yep.
Till the end of 2026.
Yes.
Touch wood, he doesn't leave back to Melbourne or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely. I'm super hyped for Will Brodie.
Yeah, it was a good signing. I saw him actually at the airport going back on the Sunday night before our flight got cancelled. I saw all the players walk through to try and get to their plane, and Will Brodie probably looked the most depressed of all of them. So I'm glad he got his little contract extension.
He's an emotional little fella, and I think
little fella.
Little
He's like
fella.
6'4",
Sorry,
like
mate.
95 kilos.
Yeah.
Little fella.
He's come from Gold Coast, and has just come over to Perth, and I think he's a very invested fella. I think he's fallen in love with Fremantle and their culture, and I think he's going to go places. He's going to come on, like honestly, he's going to be taking votes away from Rachel. That's how serious it is.
Oh yeah, I think
That's
so.
how serious it's going to be. That pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah, it was a good episode, Real Car. We'll come back tomorrow on Thursday, and we'll do a little preview for the next game.
Yep. Only 2 episodes this week, guys.
Yeah, 2 episodes. It's a bit late. We got here a bit late. Real Car had some stuff on, and man, I've been recovering from the trip. So, yeah, only 2 episodes this week, but it's been good.
Mate, it's been a pleasure. See you tomorrow.
See ya.
Flagmantle. Flagmantle.
I am Flagmantle.
We are Flagmantle. You are Flagmantle. See you later, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Flagmantle podcast. It's been an honor hosting, hasn't it, Real
It surely has been, mate.
Can you
It's been
please, we are begging you 5 stars on Spotify. It means the world to
I'm
us.
on
It
my
lets
knees.
us
I'm on my
get
knees.
off your knees, mate.
Yes, I'm on my knees,
But
guys. Please.
It helps us push it out to as many people as we can. Thank you for listening. Follow us on Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, anything else, Real Car,
Just
Twitter,
anything
YouTube.
social media, honestly.
Anything social media, we have it. So please follow us on there. 5 stars.
Except
don't
for
forget.
OnlyFans.
We're also on Apple
OnlyFans.
Podcasts, so if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, follow us through there. Google Podcasts, the same. And thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
Peace.